Oh yeah.
Yeah, now we're live. All right. Yes, sir. Okay, so I'm gonna start rolling some dice for recap. Let's see here.
Josh has to do it.
Josh has to do the recap. He watched the episode. He's eligible for it.
Yeah.
I watched it.
I skimmed it.
Saw the link.
1, 2, 3. That's Tyler for me.
Okay. Just give me a reminder where we started.
You guys started in the cellar last time.
In the cellar. Okay, easy.
We had a slightly short
Easy.
episode last
Yeah.
week, so
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
We were in the cellar, kind of trying to figure out what we're gonna do. We weren't quite sure. I think we were coming up with some random ideas of perhaps just leaving, trying to find the executioner. I forget what his name was, because he had the other piece of the key.
right.
And amongst all this, we were taking a long rest. I think Foz foregoed last couple hours to let Zoom rest again. And during this time, someone approached the cellar door, and it was a guard. And I think Kaz and Vulcan tried to pull him in.
Yep.
And they succeeded in pulling him in. And he was talking like a guard at first with his helmet or mask. Sorry, his mask on. And you guys took the mask off, I believe. And when you did, it didn't have a
Unhinged
face.
it.
Yeah, it didn't have a face. And we're like, the fuck? It's weird. And then I think right away I'm like, well, why don't we just like push this thing back outside so everyone knows that these dudes don't have any faces. But before that happened, a mouth opened up, a maw opened up, and said it's speaking for Lythander's bride. Is what it is? Okay. And it said that she's being held captive in a laboratory. The mines, which is in a laboratory or something.
The laboratory is in the mines. Her specific words were she was looking for you to release her.
Right.
They called it a mine.
And the
Mine.
the researchers guild people, what are they called? Collective.
Collective.
The collective. They're the ones watching over her apparently, which is very suspicious considering they're part of the guild where we're coming from.
Sus.
I guess.
You were told that they were a research group,
Yeah.
and that they had lost contact at some point.
Okay. So it's suspicious regardless.
Yes.
So we kind of had some not so stealthy conversations that we intended to be stealthing about, like, hey, why don't we just kill her?
Mhm.
But we, out of our player knowledge, probably assumed that she probably heard that. Anyways, it's still the plan to go try to find her, and weigh the situation out a bit. It might be way over our heads. And if that's the case, we head back to guild home base and inform everything what's going on down or up here. And if it is within our control, we can try to destroy the bride, because that way it solves the problem at hand that we were dealt to, or sent to deal with. And I think that's pretty much it. She made the second part of the key that she's got from the daughter, or not the daughter, the executioner, apparently.
Executioner's daughter.
Executioner's daughter, wife.
Same
Person.
thing, really, right?
No.
Not even a little bit the same.
Just kidding, just kidding.
Yeah, so we have the part
I mean,
of
this
the
is a
key.
freaky town, but anyway.
And we said, oh, we're gonna have this guard, whoever it is, be the one to lead us to the entrance.
Right.
So we have pretty much our path set now.
A succinct recap.
Succinct.
Does anybody remember, for inspiration, some of the background about the bride? What else did she tell you?
Makes people live their
Cast.
dreams.
Yeah, she was
Oh.
like,
I'm looking
She
for one
was-
thing in particular.
She is held captive by the gods of old, quote, cast beyond the veil, unquote. Once the bride cast away by Helm, and the church is seeking to find her.
Correct. She professed to be. You can grant yourself inspiration.
Zoom,
if
you
you
can
already
have my
have it.
inspiration.
Pass it along. So she professed herself to be a god of old, not just somebody cast out by the gods or somebody at odds with the gods. A faction of gods and goddesses were at war with the pantheon that remains, and were considered to be sinners by the gods,
Oh yeah, Sinborn. That's right.
and tossed beyond the veil. Whatever the veil is, you don't know. You've never heard of it. This is also unfamiliar to all of you. Even Bud, who seems to be the most religious amongst you, has never heard of these betrayer gods, so to speak, to use Matt Mercer's lingo. But these other gods aren't really known to you. You've never heard of them. But yeah, they had their domain stripped away and were cast out. But particularly for you, the rift between Helm and Lythander was explained as Helm was the one who cast out his own bride beyond the veil, stripping her of her godhood. So, I'll say also, Cassio, give yourself inspiration as well. It was a good recap. So you guys are still down in the cellar. I will say we're gonna kind of rewind a little bit because Bud wasn't around, wasn't in his full headspace, if you will, hit his own head cage.
We'll say this is the extra
I'm
2
gonna
hours we
very much
requested.
count Umlau out too. I was
That's true.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
true. So
You
if you
were,
guys have any more questions for the bride, she is still the guard is still there with his mask hinged open. Koss and Vulcan have kind of stepped back from it and given it its own space. So it's kind of just standing there a little unnaturally still, but like just kind of like at attention. Its mouth in this lipless, extra toothy, just kind of perpetual sneer or grin. Certainly doesn't look like a human expression.
I don't like this, mate.
Oh, hey,
It's a bit creepy in here. Yeah.
I'll say at this time, Acasio's kind of stepped back, and he's kind of like scratching at his arms a bit, noticing something that wasn't there before.
What I will say is that it's currently like you're scratching at your arm, and you kind of just like you feel like a faint vibration going through your fingers as you touch that mark or that spot on your arm, and it sounds like the room is whispering to you.
Not great.
great.
Did everybody roll HP and take care of that already?
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Brandon, hopefully you leveled up. I just realized you were asleep at the end of that last episode, so you may not have done it.
Nah, we got to level 4. Cool.
You got to level 4.
Right
Okay.
I'll do it right now.
Just to recap for you for HP, the way we're doing it is we roll for HP, and then once you have that die roll, you get to choose. You can either re-roll it and keep the second roll, or you can take the average that's set in the player handbook, and then you're done. Then you add your Constitution mod like normal.
What is it? It's your
A half plus 1 is your average.
Half plus
half
one,
of your
yeah.
die. Yeah, the hit die plus 1. Okay.
But yeah, your choice.
Gotcha.
Okay, so would anybody like to ask anything of the bride, or speak amongst yourselves?
I got
do
nothing.
All right.
I remember at the end I had requested the extra 2 hours. Did we wait that?
We are currently waiting it now.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Costa's gonna go up to Bud and like just kind of like he turns like I don't know where you were at in the room, but he like kind of like faces a wall, like talking sideways to you. He's like, I don't like any of this.
I don't know what to think of it all either. Part of me wants to just head back, tell them that we may be in over our heads.
We are over our heads.
My biggest fear is I don't think I can keep everyone alive. Should we go in? It was a miracle that we were able to bring back Umlau. I'm sorry, I had to bring back Zoom through Umlau. I don't know what
Dad's
the good
not
call
going
is
to be
here.
happy about that, mate.
I fear what would happen if the church gets a hold of her.
Well, we can't let it happen. I can guarantee you that. We'll get her out one way or another. She might be safest back with the guilds.
Sorry,
Technically,
weren't we
she's in the
discussing
hands of the
earlier?
guild. What was that?
I'm not privy to this conversation, I'm guessing.
I'm trying not to be, but
Okay, never mind. I will say nothing.
She's with us right now.
Are they
correct?
having this conversation in the privy? Sorry, I'll stop.
She isn't with us. It's a dude that she's speaking through.
correct.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Have we
So-
put the mask on the anyway, whatever.
No, the figure is standing there with the mask like hanging open. It's just kind of like rocked back against the back of his skull.
So we don't know where the bride is, but she's currently speaking through him.
Through him, yes. And this guy is going to lead us to her.
Do we know she's in the city?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She's in the gold mines,
Okay, that's
which
what I
are within
thought.
the city's protection
Yeah.
and borders. Koss will just say one last thing. He just says, I'm not as confident as the others that we can kill her, though.
I need to do some research, possibly figure out what could end her.
You ever heard of one of these old gods?
Can I roll something for that?
Yeah, sure.
Now
You
that
can try a
I'm-
religion.
I got it.
I'm just gonna roll a d. I don't know if it's gonna sync up, so I'm just gonna. It's +5. 21.
A good roll, but the only thing you've ever really heard of as far as like enemies of gods is that they're usually like there's always a lot of like influx between deities. Like they war amongst themselves all the time, right? There's always conflict there. You've never really heard about gods casting out other gods.
Yeah,
You know,
no.
you've heard of situations where like they've been replaced or they've died. That's not uncommon.
Yeah.
Or not uncommon in the days of old. Something like that hasn't happened in your lifetime, but
Sure.
as far as you know.
Real quick, Matt. One reroll, and I have to take that reroll, correct?
If you roll, otherwise you take the average.
Okay, so I took the reroll.
Okay.
It was the 5.
Perfect. I think it's your average anyway.
So yeah, so I'm at 25 next April.
Sweet.
Then
Oh,
I'm just doing all my other stuff right now.
Sounds good. I totally realized I didn't level myself up either, so I'll just be spinning another plate. Why not?
Would I assume that she still has some kind of godlike power within her? She was cast out, as Lisa was what was said. But would I assume or maybe think that maybe there's dormant power? Maybe something she's
She's doing the dream thing and making people lose their
Right.
memory.
You know that she's got some kind of power.
Yeah.
Like it's evident to you that she isn't helpless by any means.
Okay.
Something you don't know anything about her domain or what she's capable of, aside from the fact that she can grant dreams and is in some way fulfilling the desires of others.
So the fight, I'll whistle, kind of quietly whisper this to Kaz. Based on what we've seen so far, the fight would be quite dangerous. I fear that she might be able to hold sway over some of us, maybe turn each other upon one another, or even put us in a dreamlike state. Keep us out of the fight.
I think that's something that needs to be said to the others then.
I agree.
If that's something we want to do.
Possible that if we were to defeat her, that maybe, just maybe, her hold over this entire region will fall.
Kosh shrugs. Can only guess.
Yeah, definitely hold up my holy symbol and kiss it, and we should let the others know.
Kosh just grunts in response. Okay. If anybody else doesn't have anything, then what would you guys like to do?
I got something.
Okay.
When I at the end of our rest, I start an idea, and I throw together a little meal for everyone, and you gain some temporary
Everyone?
hit points.
Boy.
Yes, everyone who eats.
Not everyone.
It's part of my. I took the chef feat, so now everyone.
Did you
gains-
really?
I did.
Nice.
It doesn't say how many temp hit points though on this.
Oh, you
it's
have
in
to actually look at the
Tasha's.
In order to get
would
the
be
bonus,
nice.
you have to say you're an idiot sandwich.
Oh. What are you?
I'm gonna roll again.
What is this for?
Oh, that's for my HP.
Rolling.
Oh, you can use a bonus action to eat one of the treats to gain temporary hit points equal to your my proficiency bonus. So you can get 2 temp HP if you eat my special treat.
Can't see why not.
Sure.
Give it a try.
You said 10 temp HP?
2.
What is your treat?
What
Let's
is
see.
it?
What do I have on me? Let's see.
There goes.
It's my inventory. I give you some Shrilgar mutation. We'll say I just
Mm.
we'll say I gathered some like herbs and stuff in the Hinterwood Forest coming up here. Like just gathered like tiny things on the way up, and I probably made some like nice vegan breakfast type thing that's like probably mixed with our rations and like crushed up.
There's a
and, like,
nice
create some
selection
extra
of
flavor.
there's a nice selection of fungus down here if you'd like to try it.
Yeah, I'd probably throw some of that in there too.
The mint and mushroom spring rolls.
My favorite.
Casio eats, takes a couple bites, and it's just like,
It's good.
yeah, I have part of my personal ideal, whatever thing says. Let me see what it says.
I don't
I
eat
have my
other
own
people's
ideas
food.
about what is and what is not food.
Ooh.
That's a really-
He only eats fish offered to him by traders in wetsuits.
trainers in
but he ne-
wetsuits.
You know, like the SeaWorld.
Shamu.
Anyway. Yeah. And then
he never
you
eat-
have to scratch down his tongue. Anyway.
And he never eats out of your hand either. You got to put it on the ground first.
Put it in your ass
Damn
first.
cat.
That was taught later for safety. Too many incidents.
Oh, he longs for sweeter meats.
Man, only 2 temp HP though. Okay.
He longs for meat.
Like,
Sweater meats.
Oh, wait,
Digitized.
special food?
Bill's over here making green beans with mold on them.
Meanwhile, Kaz is learning how to hit things harder. I like to crush.
Like the crust.
Wait, I can only cook 2 of them?
Oh,
Sucks. What the hell? Why did I take this? Oh, wow.
Well, now.
For the flavor.
Okay, so 2 people get 2 temporary hit points.
Well, it gets better over time, I guess.
Nice.
And
And who-
Akazo will give it to someone else.
And
Yeah.
who are you giving these extra special treats to?
Let's see.
Scooby
well,
snacks.
sounds like
That's what
Akasi
I was
already
thinking.
got one.
No, he passed on it.
Bard.
Oh.
You like had a little bit, and they're like, "Oh no." We'll say I give one to Foz.
Sure.
I'm like, "Hey, Foz, this might help you. You look a little rough because you stayed up a bit late. Put some.
Thank you, friend.
I like ground some caffeine into it or something too. And we'll give it to Bud. We'll give our spellcasters some extra
2 HP.
HPs.
Oh, hey, that's exactly how much I got from my last level up. Anyway,
2
Where's the
HP.
Daniel Freeze?
something like that. yeah.
Seriously? Oh, rip.
He's
Oh,
looking
well,
very-
I rolled 2 and I have a
Holding a
+1
pose.
constitution, so it's.
Well, we were just commenting on the fact that your camera's frozen.
Yep, sounds about right. Awkward, I hope.
Oh.
No, that's not that
No,
bad. You're
not
just
at
looking
all.
at your screen, it looks like.
It's been worse before.
You look like you're working. All right. Does anybody else have anything else?
Working.
Working
I think
forever.
we're good. I think we just gotta come to a consensus of what we're doing. I think what we were originally planning, if I remember this correctly, is that we wanted to go find the collective people and ask them to see if they lied to us or not, because we know the truth already. So if they lie to us, then that's something to report back to base.
Yeah, I think you remember hearing you say that last time. It's definitely something to try. I'm down for it.
Yeah.
But how do we get? What's our story? How do we? Like, what do we say? We're just like, okay, cool. Thanks for telling us. Good report. Bye. And then we just leave.
Or if they lie to us, then we just pretend that we believe their lie and then leave. If they tell us the truth, then they trust us, so it's not a big deal. They should trust us
Alright.
because we're part of the guild.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Should probably talk in character. Whatever. So, I'm assuming we took rested another 2 hours for Foz because I know he needed it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I need an hour to cook my 2 treats. Apparently.
Can you spend
Seems
multiple hours
economical to me.
These must be some fucking.
Oh wait, no. If we
seriously
do
good
2
treats.
hours, I can make 4 treats. For
Well, you
every
do
hour,
have-
I can make 2 treats.
You do have 2 hours if that's what you want to do.
All right. So who else? I'll give Umlau and Wulkan.
You can't eat
Who
it.
else I get some temp HP?
I pretend to, and I just don't tell anybody.
You still get the temp HP. I say so.
Do you like open up the helmet, just drop it in, and close it? Like,
That, I love
Just
I
straight
believe-
to stomach.
I believe
work.
I
The
put a little
exact
bit of
words I
oil in
think are-
Wulkan's.
I think the exact words are that you don't have to eat. I think you can though, so I'll
Yeah.
allow it.
It's
Okay.
like I think for Wulkan, these are all like little what are they called? The like the chef's like the pre appetizer thing.
Hors d'oeuvres?
Ah, no, like the
First doers.
no, it's a special name. I can't remember right now.
You're
It's like
talking
the
about ghosts,
compliments. Yeah, it's like
Oh,
these are
yeah,
from
yeah.
the compliments of the chef.
Oh,
thing.
oh.
deviled eggs.
Yeah.
I love the whole thing.
Where are the eggs?
Where are the eggs?
Vulcan, while you can't taste it or really smell it or anything, it warms your insides, I guess.
I put a little extra cooking oil in
You
Wulkan's,
you
so it's
kinda
mostly oil.
You kind of
Oh, Lucy.
understand, like, by the looks on other people's faces that they're enjoying their enjoyment and like their, just like the feeling of getting a good meal in this inhospitable place, still bolsters their courage, and steels them against the darks ahead. So you get a little bit of that through osmosis.
All right. I'll blend in with the party.
What
There
did
you
they
go.
call it
10
back
temp?
in the day? The kids baking little plastic thing like Betty Crocker.
No, the easy bake ovens.
Easy bake
Oh, yeah.
oven. That's what Bill's got.
It's just
Yeah.
a really hot light bulb.
Well, I just have
2
like a little pan. I imagine I deep fry a lot because I'm from France. So I like maybe the little donut holes that I
Deep
make.
fried Oreos.
Beignets,
on the go.
beignets, Bill.
Beignets.
I was like, wait,
Those
where
French
is, this,
beignets.
where is this cultural assumption coming from? It took me a minute to like figure out where you were coming with that.
Apparently, France is just full of cardies.
No, it's like the South, right?
Yeah, deep fried.
Yeah.
Deep South.
Or a big carnival, yeah.
Yeah,
Either way.
I mean, the accent applies for both, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's mighty assumptive of me.
Yeah. Fuck you, carnies.
Don't you forget it.
Well, no.
Okay. So you guys
Anyway.
are somewhat formulating a plan.
The makings of a plan.
The making 15% of a plan. Is there anything else, or are we just gonna follow this guy to his destination?
I say we follow.
All right.
Can I click the long rest button?
Yeah. Take a long rest if you haven't already.
Huzzah! How do I do that? Sorry, I'm going to add the temp health after I finish the long rest.
That would be wise.
There we go. Oh, and I get to. I have to prepare spells. Oh, wait, no, I don't. Okay, I'm good.
The guard figure says, "Very well. Your guide has been dreaming while you have rested and made your snacks."
Oh, sorry. Did you want one?
Yes! Those are my important rules.
Unfortunately, I won't be able to taste it, although it does look delicious.
That's unfortunate.
Perhaps you can make me one when you arrive. Regardless, he has been dreaming, and now I have sent him a dream of who you are. And he has asked if he can help.
Does he have a name?
Hang on. Where did I write it? I think, Daniel, were you laughing because you didn't think I had one?
No, I'm laughing because I'm like, I'll give Mishler a chance, before I just blurt out something stupid. And that becomes what it ends up sticking.
Nasty McMask face.
Yeah, you got it. How did you know?
Yep. I was gonna call him like Bobbert or something like that, but
His
Man.
name is Kadram.
Okay, Kadram.
He met an ill fate long ago.
That's, that just, I was hoping, I don't know what I was expecting, but that just made it a bit creepier to me.
What? What part of it wasn't creepy already?
Good question, but
She says, "I shall see you soon. Tread carefully." And she shuts the mask. You guys re-look at this guy's, I believe I described him as like having like not quite a cherub face, but like a round babyish face. Perfectly smooth in the mask's depiction. And you've got two greenish eyes looking owlishly at you through the mask. They blink once and twice, and he says, "Oh, sorry about that. Shall we go then?"
Lead the way.
yeah, Kadram, let's go.
Right.
Ooh, sudden moves.
Stay close.
Did you have a good dream?
My dreams are the best here in Hinterwood.
Cool.
And he walks
Yeah.
confidently right up to the door of your cellar and walks right out of it.
Was he armed?
He had
Yeah.
2 arms.
He has like a short sword at his belt.
Okay.
A gladius style short sword. But otherwise he's got a shield on his back and he's just like dressed in chainmails. But no other effects as far as weaponry goes. All right. He steps out into the mid-afternoon sun, and it's about like roughly like 3:30, 4 o'clock now at this point. The sun is starting to, as you can kind of see in this background art, it's starting to kind of crest behind this like the rocky hills and mountainous structures near or surrounding the town. You reckon dusk for Hinterwood is not far away. Is there anything you guys would like to do while you guys step out, or just continue to follow?
I would like to keep an eye out for any of the zealots or other guards that look like they are noticing our presence. Even though we
Okay.
are with a guard, that does not seem fully safe.
All right. Roll a perception check then.
Let me find that button. Boop.
Ooh, baby.
Very
Dog.
nice. You turn your head left and right, and you're looking around. There's. Sorry, hang on one sec. Curious what this will do.
Private. You rolled some mystery dice.
No, we got a question mark.
I see.
What?
I was curious what these other roll options would do for you guys. He walks essentially right down the middle of the street. He is a guard with a purpose, and he every once in a while glances back at you all, and he, kind of nods to reaffirm that you're there, and continues walking. Some people say hello to him as though he's just normal fare. A couple other guards call out merrily to him, asking what he's doing. He's like, just an escort job. I'll be back later. And most people seem to take this as, just at face value. For you, you see nobody matching a Templar description.
Okay.
But the town is still unnerving as far as like you were recently caught witnesses recently caught sight of you doing several illegal acts in the town, so it's still kind of like a tense situation, and you hardly feel safe. Every odd look sent in your direction seems to like your hackles raise as you catch eyes with some people, but otherwise nobody bothers you. Anybody else? Okay. You walk for about an hour. By the time you start leaving the market district into more of a residential area, a more run-down area. This place looks like there's less money here. Fewer stained glass windows and golden domes. These houses lie in the shade of the hills and mountains. Last to get the sun and first to lose it as the day wanes. The people start to look a little rougher. You see people, soot-stained faces and things. People coming back from a long day on the job. More like just broad hands and shoulders, rough looking, like people with scars and scratches all over their forearms and such. A lot of people seem to be talking, either in hushed voices or just kind of like in tired voices as they leave their jobs. Fewer Templars. You still see none, and fewer iconography out in this area that you can notice that seems prevalent in other parts of Hinterwood. However, the guard presence is raised here. It seems you seem to run across more of the regular fare of guards rather than Templars and church members.
We're all together at this point, right?
Oh yeah. Unless you guys wanted to be otherwise.
Walking on.
Yeah, you continue to walk.
With them.
Right, hang on.
Sorry, I was leveling up. What is our goal right now? Are we just trying to get out of the city?
Now you guys are going to the collective lab in the mines.
The mines.
Okay.
Mines. Sorry about that. Okay, so the closer you get to the mines, the buildings start to, like, the closer you get to the hills, you assume the closer you get to the mines. The buildings start taking on more of a utilitarian role. They look like storehouses, warehouses, various smithies. You see... I guess the only thing I can think of is called, like, offices and, like, places that are closing down for the evening, but a lot of it seems like managerial or, like a barracks for other miners. There is you pass a rough and tumble looking, like an even rough and tumbler looking version of the Rising Moon Inn. This place looks more of like a public house, just meant for the miners and only meant for like after drinking stress relief, essentially. You hear a lot of just like raucous laughter and yelling as people blow off steam after their day of work. The closer to the mines you get, the fewer and fewer people are there. Until at some point you meet what essentially looks like a quarry. You stand at the top of a quarry with a gate and guard posted there. As Cadram approaches, the guard at the top, standing post there, nods to him, and he walks straight on through.
We do too, I assume.
We follow.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Wait, is the guard like him? Like with a mask and everything?
He is not wearing a mask.
Oh, just face. Just regular face.
Just face.
Suspicious.
He's wearing a skin mask.
He's wearing someone else's face.
Why are you in that human suit?
But he leads you down mine's like yours, just upside down.
Oh. Mine looks like World of Warcraft.
It does indeed. He leads you down a sloping pathway, like a bunch of switchbacks that double back and forth. You see a couple other people, miners, coming up out of the quarry. Yeah, miners. It's a preschool with gold. It's child labor. That's what it is now. No, it's a bunch
different
of
culture.
They gotta die.
That's why the public go rocket. They haven't had their nap, and anyway.
That's why they work into the evening. Yeah, right. They have to take the siesta. But but a bunch of workers are coming out. Some of them give you odd looks. You certainly don't belong here as a worker or a guard. But Cadrum just move along, and pushes his way through. Eventually, he leads you straight into the mine. Where most of it's dark in here, and he like just casually picks up a lantern, scoops a lantern off the ground, as though it was his. Lights it and just continues walking with purpose.
Cassio's still in the back, like picking at this scaly mark on his arm, and starting to like bleed a little bit from him picking at it so much.
The whispers don't increase in volume. They're more like just on the periphery of your senses, and every time you look, like they almost sound like real voices. You look over and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
This is Acacia whispers, not just general.
Not everybody.
Yeah,
I was too. Oh, okay.
absolutely.
I'd say this thing kind of feels like a bug bite. So super itchy, but at the same time it hurts a lot.
Yeah.
Like a blister.
A horse bite,
Horse bite.
horse fly bite, whatever. I don't know.
Fooling around in the barn.
That's why you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It'll bite you.
Your face off.
And then it'll get itchy.
Yeah, we're all the same idiot.
It's the muscle memory.
Who?
So he leads you down through these buttressed, is that the right word? Well reinforced.
Butler.
I think of buttress and I think church, so maybe not the
Rice.
best.
Well, yeah, but the
Butt
buttress
rice is different.
whatever. Anyway,
I think it's still right. But the area of the mines you're going through is like fairly wide, a lot of track laid, kind of well populated and well versed area of the mines. He leads you that way for about half an hour, and then just suddenly takes a left turn. There are varying branches off of this place, some well traveled, some not. You watch him take a left through a solid wall.
What?
What's going on?
take a
here,
moment
mate?
to investigate said wall.
I've seen magic, but not like this, mate.
Yeah, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Oh, I actually know the spell Minor Illusion, so I would be aware of something like this. You said investigation?
Sure.
There we go. Whoop.
I know spell minor illusion.
Ooh.
I use it on myself.
Nice.
Acasio and Foz, you're both privy to the fact that, yeah, this is probably an illusion. But you're also privy to the fact this is probably not a minor illusion.
No, or it is a minor illusion.
Okay.
Sorry.
Get him out of here.
All right, end the stream. We're done. Pack it up. It's over.
Roll again.
Shut it down.
It was good while it lasted, guys.
Well, lost my Twitch fame.
Yep, there it goes. That's all of it's gone.
Viewers dropped to none.
To negative. No.
Boy, what was I gonna say?
Turn left. There's
Turn
investigation.
left. It's an illusion.
All magic.
Carry on.
So while you're like looking around in this area, yeah, it blends in seamlessly with the surrounding wall, even down to the point where like this area looks like it's right before you go deep into the mines, and you can start seeing the like faint fleck of like metallic reflections in the walls around here, and this illusory wall shares a lot of that same quality. To the point where you would never really look twice at it unless you knew it was there.
Some bonfire behind it.
So yeah, if you hit it, but yeah, sticking your hand against it, like there's no feeling. It just passes straight through.
Platform 9 3/4.
Right, you have
Foz
to take it at a run.
chuckles to himself, just and says, "'Tis not real. Move on." And just walk straight through it.
Oh, we're
alright.
right behind him.
Cadrum is on the other side, waiting for you expectantly. He says, "Stay close." And continues to walk. The tunnel you're in takes on a different, I guess, structure. It's no longer like a well-reinforced, very carved and chipped looking area. The tunnel you're in is now perfectly spherical, or cylindrical as you walk through. It's like perfectly shaped, and the walls are perfectly smooth. So much so that you even pass in a couple spots some sort of speckled ore that's in the wall that has just been cloven straight through. Something has burrowed this out with intent.
Is it circular, or is it arched or...
It's well, I mean, I say circular. Yeah, it's circular. The floor is also rounded.
I mean cylindrical in shape, always.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same thing.
Okay. There's gonna be a rolling rock somewhere. Anyway.
For another half hour, he leads you. Eventually, the bottom of the tunnel takes on a tiny trickle of water heading toward you from further on. It kind of becomes this cistern-like area. It's not quite like an aqueduct or a sewer per se, but there seems to be some sort of flowing water, and has channeled straight down the center of this area. Boss and Acacio with those rolls as well. You can feel the faint thrum of something magical further on that emits no light or sound. It's just kind of like this feeling you have, and you can kind of feel it in the stone and in your bodies.
And plums.
Eventually, Cadrum leads you to a stop. To what appears to be a blank piece of wall. He holds his light up to it, and he's literally looking about. And then he kind of takes some of the oil, splatters it all over the wall. And then holds the flame up to it and lets it lick across the wall, and just kind of burns away from center out with a fizzling and you see a seams of a door start appearing there. It's
fire and enter.
Yeah, it's not quite the full size of the tunnel itself. It's a little smaller than that. And I guess door to Moria, it's rectangular but curved at the top. You see, let me find that. I wrote that a long time ago. Okay, you see a winding, thorny bramble with 3 stars above it, placed on wrapped around what appears to be a staff of some kind.
3 thorny bramble with 3
Stars.
And a staff.
Yeah. The stars are many pointed. And if you counted, there would be 12 points on them each. Anyway, in the center of the staff, you can see a keyhole. Cadrum just looks at all of you and he says, "Well, good luck." And he walks away.
right. I will wait a requisite
So now
amount of
what?
time.
Well, we got the key, right?
We have the key.
Who's
Okay, you're
got the
part of the
key?
You have the whole
However, before I open this door, I would ask that you give me about 10 minutes. I wish to divine some of the future.
All right.
And if nobody has any qualms, I would like to cast augury or augury. And my
Oh, man.
question would be, should we wish to engage this bride in combat, will we fare well in our current state?
Moving those paws.
Look at that little tummy.
Rolling the bones.
We'll roll a couple of the bones from Zoom's meal.
Results of a specific course of action that you plan to take within the next 30 minutes. Might change the outcome, such as the casting of additional spells or the loss or gain of a companion if you cast the spell 2 or more times, blah, 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 blah. Describe to me what it is your augury looks like
So it
when
would
you
be-
perform this act.
It kind of takes out a little bowl that you see him like often do, like sort of like tea or like seeing like tea leaf reading sort of things, or just kind of doing incense, and it's kind of like an all-purpose bowl. He'll do that, and then he'll take out like the bones and some like leaves and kind of light some incense and do that, and kind of mutter a little bit, and you see
Don't
his
forget the lotion.
If we were
Sorry,
to
say that last sentence one more time.
if we were to engage the bride in
No,
our
no, no, no,
current-
not that one.
sorry.
The in the flavor part where you lit incense, you ground up all your tea leaves, and then you did what with it?
Oh, like rolling the bones in it,
Okay,
sort of
got
thing,
it.
like in the bowl.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of how exactly I want to do this, because this is pretty late. So as you cast your bones out into the ground up tea leaves, the incense fills this tight chamber. It's damp and cool down here, and it's easy to lose yourselves in the moment of where you are and what you're doing. The door crackles lightly with the fire that that Cadram had thrown upon it. The incense kind of like fills the tunnel, fills your minds, and all of you see Foz, after 10 minutes, cast the bones out, or after meditating over them. Foz, you look down and you see it's a, how do I want to put this? It is split in a way that would tell you that you are approaching a crossroads of sorts. You see the signs of weal and woe.
Okay.
In your bones and in the smoke of your incense. The battle could go well, or it could go poor. But there's something else that's causing uncertainty that you can't quite pinpoint. But unhelpfully, the battle could go well or ill.
All right, I'll convey that to.
There are too many. I think logically in your head, being as smart as you are, you would think there are too many external factors, and you don't know quite enough to pinpoint why it would go well or bad.
I will convey that for the sake of brevity, and shall we?
We shall.
Unless anybody has any other stuff. I
Let's
produce the
go
key.
deeper.
And let us unlock this door.
All right. Who is unlocking the door?
I'm the one who has the bag of holding, so I assume it would be me. Unless somebody else really wants to.
You take the key, which is now whole. For those of you who don't recall, it is a... Actually... That's where it was. It's the insertable side is three-pronged and a star-like shaped on one side. The opposite has a clear orb filled with some sort of red fluid within. As the two pieces combined, there is now like a very small radial like star above it that completes the rest of the 12 points. It kind of looks like almost like a gear on the back, completing the key, and then the orb seamlessly is one single clear object now, sloshing viscously with this with what you now know to be blood. As the chains that were wrapped around each half orb dangle out the back, almost like a keychain kind of. But there are like several, like maybe like 6-ish small filigree chains falling off of this thing. Foz, as you place the key in the keyhole, nothing happens. You give it a turn, and you feel the lightest prick on your hand. And it draws blood. The chains have flared out into sharp little points and have drawn blood. You can see your blood trickling down the chains onto the orb and across the handle of the key toward the keyhole. The fire alights the blood, runs right back up your hand, or right back up the key and into the orb, burning whatever is within. The fire seems to draw itself inward toward the key and into the orb as it clicks. You see runes lining all the way around, like runic circles start hovering just slightly above the door. And as each second passes, one will spin and kind of dissipate, and another, and another. Those of you of the magical inclination can roll Arcana checks if you'd like. So I would say Umlau, Acacio, and Foz would be able to check what's going on here.
Arcanum.
What the frick?
Ooh.
Umlau is the first to notice. This seems to be some kind of it's like a trapped door. These runes are laid as like a defense mechanism should you not have the key. And it would likely detonate in a big way if you were to attempt to break it down somehow.
I notice it. I just kind of make a face, and I'm just like, "Oh wow, mate," and that's it.
Yeah, you count maybe a dozen of varying types, of varying colors. There's a kaleidoscope one that spins really, really quickly and then locks itself in position before vanishing like that. But the rest all seem to dissipate in a swirl. And you can hear a grinding as the stone door splits and opens for you both, or for all of you.
Some pretty crazy magics in here, mate. We should be careful.
What meets you is a well-polished floor. It's made of stone. It's well kept. It's tidy in here. You see magic fires lighted all the way down this passage. It's well lit. And you suddenly get it's like stepping outside again. You get a breath of fresh air coming in here. And there's somebody there standing there watching you as you approach. He's a burly-looking man. Hang on. But not more than 4.5 feet tall. He's dark of skin, bald, pallor, and you see white shocks of hair out behind him. You see two kind of like molten coal like ember eyes behind a tarnished golden mask that's one of the oddest things you've seen in this town, because it seems to be very crudely like welded together of different faces. Like it's not one seamless face. It's like a smattering of maybe like 6 different faces fused into one.
Weird. What's he doing? He just came.
He's standing there with his hands behind his back, and he looking at you all.
How's he dressed?
So he is dressed in a mix of leather, like leather armor, and like little cloth adornments.
Okay.
He's wearing like a ruby sash across his chest and belt, and you can see kind of like they look like segmented plates, almost like they're like little hexagons tied together, like what am I trying to say? Stitched together all the way across. Like it almost looks like a chainmail, but like in these like geometric patterns all the way across. He's got his like sleeves rolled up. He's heavily scarred all over, and you can see little faint red outlines of these scars on his black skin.
Is he armed?
Yeah, you see an axe in his belt. So are you gonna introduce yourselves, or am I gonna have to ask?
Well, every time we go somewhere, mate, it gets creepier and creepier. We don't know who to say hi to and who to, not say hi to, mate.
Well, most people in the polite sphere would call that manners.
I guess we ain't got manners, mate. We got the shit beat out of us earlier. My friend died. I guess manners went out the window 2 deaths ago, mate.
You still haven't introduced yourselves.
I'm Umlau.
Bud Dadrod.
And a collection of your most silent friends.
I am Fazradin.
We are members of the guild.
Ah, now we're getting somewhere. How come you be here?
Looking for the collective.
Well, you had the key, so you must already know you're in the collective. You still haven't said why you're here.
We were told something or someone of great value is kept down here. Is that true?
Roll a persuasion check. If you know who we are and where to find us, you already know that we have many of great value. All we deal with is value.
But this thing is above commonwealth.
I repeat my last. What we deal with is much above gold and commonwealth. You still haven't told me why you're here. If you're looking for someone, simple enough. But I don't know who you are. I don't know who sent you here.
Alright. I was trying to be subtle, but fine.
Subtle but.
Subtle, but.
Fine.
You're playing coy. We are looking for the bride. The same as all of Lighthander's church.
When you say you're looking for the bride, he kind of like straightens up like this, and then at the mention of the church, his axe is out in a flash. It's this runic looking thing with two axe heads on either side, and as he like steps forward, it just like alights in flame. He says, "Oh, you're with Lathander then, are you?"
No, I said the same as. You're not with the church.
Well, same as the church means you're here to kill the bride, or take her.
Now, if that were the case, why would that be such a bad thing?
Because she has value beyond gold and material wealth.
She's polluting the minds of citizens and travelers.
Polluting the weak-minded, maybe.
Who's to say she hasn't gotten your mind?
Oh, she has gotten in my mind. And I let her there.
I looked at Kaz. I just want to gauge people's reaction to this.
Kaz is... his hand is drifted over to, not his magical battle axe, but to the flail that he's been carrying around since the get-go. But you mostly just see his like hand flexing. Like he's not quite itching for a fight, but he's ready for one. It's a reaction you've seen a fair amount in your travels already. And it usually precedes violence.
I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Zoom. You can put the axe down, friend.
You've yet to prove if you're friends or not. But if you know the bride, you know why our work is important.
I don't really, but we were hoping to discuss that with you and the others in the collective.
Does your work?
Both of you roll persuasions for me. Oof. Close.
I knocked his to a 20.
Both pretty good. Both pretty good. He looks sideways at both of you, and you can see his eyes just kind of like traveling back and forth.
Also,
and they're just...
she sort of came to us too, so she kind of wants to talk to us. She had a friend with a mask with no face come, and she sounded like she wanted to talk to us.
He's still in his wide battle stance, but you can see the flames around the edges of his axe just snuff out with like just a flicker of smoke. He steps back and he taps it twice on the ground. One of our gray men came to you.
Was he gray? I wasn't. It was dark, and where we were, I couldn't really see that well.
I lean over to Wilkin, and I'm just like,
He's probably colorblind because he's like a cow, mate.
I can see colors, thank you.
I didn't realize he was still right next to me, mate. I'm sorry.
Maybe he lost his color when he died.
So will you show us to her?
He says,
"What you were doing with her?"
Mostly speaking with her, researching. She's a historical gold mine, if you catch me meaning.
She doesn't seem to be fond of being kept here.
She's grown nervous. in the coming days.
She's worried about the Church of Lythander finding her.
We all worry for it. The need for secrecy is paramount, given the fact that the church is all up and down our business. Should they find any of us, we're all dead.
Including her.
Who knows? That's a question for somebody closer to the church, not me. Starting to sound more like Kaz the further in I go.
Who is closest?
Cause here, cause there, cause everywhere.
Closest how?
Who is the highest rank here?
That'd be Aura Prana. Woolstar.
Aura Prana.
She's been working here the longest. See, people are free to come and go with vows of secrecy.
Was Manus free to come and go?
Free as long as his vow took him. I hear he went around the twist toward the end. Poor bastard.
Was he one of those weak-minded fools you spoke of?
If I had to guess, it was a bad combination of the vow and what he actually wanted to do. Nobody here is truly weak, but some people give in to their desires more than others. Temptation's a wicked thing.
Well, are we just going to sit in this hall and talk this out, or are we going to move anywhere?
Well, I could show you about the place. As long as me and my lads can come as well. You wouldn't have a problem with that, would you?
Many friends you got, mate?
You can count them on me mask. Come on. And he leads you further in.
I lean back over to Wolfkin and I'm just like,
Be careful, mate. He might try to collect you on his face.
Try. I grip my hammer.
Haas gives you a very familiar look. Like both of you are just you lock eyes and you're just like
Just nod.
yeah. This place is gonna get the whack if things go shitty. Like it's yeah.
Ready
The
to
rest-
smash.
The rest of you follow?
Sure.
All right.
Aye.
All right. You guys walk further down this tunnel, and the closest hallway to you has an offshoot, and it looks something like it's got cots and barrack. Like, it seems like a barracks of some kind. Did I tell you this guy's name? I didn't. Okay. You never asked.
Well, I kind of introduced
it's
myself
not.
hoping that he would eventually say his own name, but
Never.
he
Manners,
doesn't,
mate.
he doesn't
never said
practice
who
what he
you are.
preaches.
He pokes his head into the side room, and you can he's a little further ahead of you. He pokes his head in and holds a hand out for you to stop. You can hear some words passing back and forth, some low voices, and one halfling female comes out, and a gray-skinned, faceless person comes out as well. And he's dressed in a golden mask and a sash, like a printed sash. Almost looks like tribal.
This is the halfling or the gray person?
This is the gray person.
Okay.
Is dressed in like a kind of some sort of like cultural attire. In a they're like segmented cloth that goes all the way down to his ankles, and they're like splits down below, and he's carrying this like wickedly curved two-handed sword. The halfling appears to be carrying nothing, as far as you can tell, and she's dressed in simple cloth, but she's got like a bright smile as she sees you guys, and just kind of like a mischief to her. As she sees you.
This is the queen.
No. This is just a halfling.
Sorry.
Just a halfling.
Does the gray person bear a resemblance to the guard Cadrum that led us here?
The skin has a similar look to it, sure, but his face is covered, so you're not entirely sure about that. The face itself, the mask itself is odd. It's kind of just a smooth half mask up top, and then has a grinning smile underneath, but nothing else up top here. And it's like perfectly sealed over as well. Right.
Hello there.
The halfling grins, but says nothing, and the gray-skinned man just nods his head.
Well, see you around.
You can hear a light chuckle from the dwarvish figure, and he's like, "You will. Take up the rear," and he leads you further down the hallway. He leads you to like an annex, like a gathering chamber. It's sparsely populated. There's like maybe 3 or 4 different people here. A couple grayskins, a Goliath, who's wearing like an overflowing robe, like it looks like extra long and just very like he's very extra long sleeves, and a high collar. He notes your entrance, and just kind of tilts his head curiously at you. So what'll it be, guildmates? Should I take you to who's in charge, or do you want to look around first?
Who's in charge, mate? Now that's a question, not where we're going yet.
Like I said, Ura Prana.
I think he wants us to eat some fish, mate. I don't know.
Oh yeah, now we're talking.
I love sushi.
Josh is pooping.
Perfect for this.
Pooping.
The kitty needs his fish.
He can hear it too.
Why don't you show us around?
Sure. And he points to at the Goliath. This here's Molig, one of our researchers here. Can tell you a bit about what he's working on if you like.
Well, very well.
Vulgar. Does anybody want to talk to Molig, or do you just want to skip to the...
Yeah, I go to Molly. I'm like, what kind of research do you do, mate, in a place like this? Yeah.
The Goliath just kind of like stares at you, like a little, not blankly. It's almost like he's looking past you a little bit. And then like it takes him several seconds to respond. I have been studying the wavelength of magic.
I am utterly astonished at the response and how eloquently it came out. And I'm just like, all right, mate. And I just walk away. I was too baffled by his response It's too eloquent for his kind.
He just raises an eyebrow, like you know, and he's got the bald pate of a Goliath, but the tribal tattoos you've seen on other Goliath don't necessarily reflect here. He's got like, well, I guess the only thing I can call them are like runic etchings running up and along the side of his head, just in like these like very eloquent swirls and loops.
In looking at him, do I recognize any of them as anything?
You can roll an Arcana check.
In my spells. Dude.
You don't quite recognize them as anything. They could be a language, but you're not quite sure.
Okay. That's all.
All right. Anyone else?
As your research born any fruit, you will have to forgive my companion. He is on a rather short wavelength.
You see, the eyes of the Goliath, they were following Umlau, and like similarly, after a few seconds, he kind of slides his eyes back to you. He's not wearing a mask or anything, so you can kind of like watch his whole facial expression. It blanks for a second, and then he smiles. Says, "Oh yes, the Hinterwood is an annex of the plains. There are many, many notes and songs sung through magic here.
Old songs as well as new.
He glances over at the dwarvish figure, and who shrugs. And he says, "It led us to the bride.
I see.
Her magic was sad, lonely, and so infinitesimally vast." And he just kind of like looks back, like over your head, back and over your head somewhere. His eyes slightly glassing over. Not with any kind of like sheen of magic or anything. He kind of just like they grow unfocused as they look past over you.
Is there some type of, I don't know. This is striking me as very culty. So is there some type of check that I could roll to, maybe an insight check to feel if this is like the Sinborn cultist we ran into earlier on?
I was thinking something similar too.
Yeah.
Want to see if the sailor boy's here?
So you two would be attempting to roll a check to draw inferences.
Yeah.
Correlations between the two. What I will say is
more dots.
You can either roll. I would allow history or insight.
Oh, insight.
This is for Acasio and Zoom.
I'll insight. Oh, I could either, but I'll do insight.
Actually, I want to use the inspiration for this one. I think this is a good one to use for.
Okay.
I'll let you go ahead and do it.
Why?
What I'll say, Zoom, it strikes you more like. Actually, I'll say it strikes you both. The way he's talking, he is odd in the same way that Zoom is odd. Or I'm sorry, not Zoom. Foz is odd. He's peculiar. As far as what you can infer, he seems passionate about what he does, but he's just weird. Meanwhile, as this is going on, the conversation, the Goliath kind of snaps back. Malrig, was that what's his name? Malig.
Baran.
Malig kind of refocuses to you, Foz, and he says, my apologies. Sometimes that information can be overwhelming.
Do not worry, I understand.
He inclines his head and he says, after like an extended pause, he says, I thought you might. You are more than welcome to join me. I will explain my research further if you wish. And he slides back in his chair, and you see his knees are like, kind of like a little higher up, like they're like cresting the table a little bit, like it's made for just like a normal size, like 6 foot tall person. And he like stands up and he's towering over you at 9 feet. He says, "It has been a pleasure to meet you." And he gives you a little bow.
Just kind of nod and leave. Dispense with the niceties.
Well, that's Molig.
I like him, man.
He seems nice.
He certainly is one of the more even-tempered of us.
He's full of surprises.
Why is that?
He talks so well, man. You know, for a Goliath and all. Yeah?
He certainly doesn't share his nomadic tendencies of his tribe. Given that they're all dead. Anyway.
That would make it difficult.
We're moving on.
Continuing on.
Road again.
He leads you past several more labs. The lab, it's like the whole area, the structure, the building you're in, what have you, the mine you're in, seems fairly sparse as far as people go. You pass several labs with like alchemical equipment, magical reagents, various other things, but you don't see a ton of people. You pass the occasional straggler who looks at you curiously, or sees you coming and re-enters their room suddenly. You pass maybe about half a dozen gray-skinned beings on your way further down into the mine. Or lab. I'll just call it a lab.
He called it a lab.
One room you pass has no door that catches your interest, and it's full it's lined with these tall glass tubes running down its either side. The room has got like a faint bluish purple glow to it. And each tank or cylinder is full of a cloudy smoke.
How big are said cylinders? Are they like large beakers or?
They're like 6 foot tall cylinders.
Oh, okay.
Set into stone bases.
Is there anything like in them?
You'd have to get closer to look.
Are we free to break off?
Yeah, like how far are
Start
they?
looking, or are we like being escorted?
You're
and we're
being
just
escorted and led. You could ask.
Okay.
But otherwise, if you want to break off,
Break off of the tour. Break off of the tour.
Kill them all.
Staying with the group. Umlau's too squishy to go off by himself. In fact, I go right up next to Bud, where I know I'm safe.
You whisper in his ear.
I'm right by you, kitty guy. No one can get me now, yeah?
I'll whisper back in here. And you know I always have yours, but keep a tight hold on your father. Don't know
Kitty
what they might do.
pets. When a kitty
Alright.
whispers in your ear, it's a kitty pet.
Okay. I'm just in here.
I'm just like, oh,
All
you can
right.
see my spine tingling.
I think Bud, you have the highest passive perception, right?
Yeah, it's pretty high.
What is it?
Well, now that my wisdom when I leveled up, it's now 20.
Jesus.
Impressive.
All right. Well, with a 20 passive perception, as you lean into whisper to Umlau, you start speaking to him, and you kind of glance up in as you're passing, you glance up into the room, and you can see something move in the it's like a foggy tank. You can't really see too much through it. A little cloudy, but you see a kind of grayish outline of something in there. Looks
where?
humanoid in the tank, in one of the tanks closest to you.
I'd like to inspect it further.
You break off from the group.
I mean, I pull Umlau with me.
Wow.
Here we go, mate.
Not in an aggressive way, but
And after where he gets killed too.
First.
You step inside,
Going.
and the room. The closer you get to these tanks, you can see that they're made of a clear glass. They're about 8 feet tall, 6 to 8 feet tall each. They're set into these well-polished stone, essentially like stands. And there's a tube of some kind that runs up into the ceiling. But the closer you get to these things, you can see that they're gray humanoid shapes floating in each of these tanks.
nice.
Like they're just like
No
little
problem,
silhouettes.
mate.
You can't really form details of what they are,
Hmm.
but they're certainly humanoids of varying size and shape.
Can I get closer to one of them and
Sure.
try and see actually what it is inside of these tanks? Or are we close
Sure.
enough to kind of see?
Yeah. You approach one of the tanks. At this point, the rest of you, I'll say, the halfling behind you, the halfling female behind you, is giving a whistle. I can't. And the dwarf stops and turns around. He says, "Hold up, we've got a straggler." Inside Umlau, you can see it's about, I would say, 4 feet tall, and has this kind of like it's got this arched, almost like fetus-like shape to it.
Don't like that.
It looks more like a sea creature than it does a
Ugh.
humanoid. It's got these bony protrusions along its back, and you can see it's got like a translucent gray skin, and you can see into its like brackish green organs and such all throughout. It shares the same featureless faces as the other gray men, and it seems to be just kind of curled up in on itself.
Looking at it, I'm just like, is this how they were born, mate? I look over to Bud. Do I see Bud, or did he just like push me in this room and walk out?
He came with you.
Okay. I was like, hey, mate, kitty guy, look what's in these tubes, yeah? They're making people, mate. Oh. Talking
Hold on.
to the wifey.
Hold on
Yeah.
1 second.
did you do?
What did you do?
What are the rest of you doing while this is going on?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask the guy leading us after saying all this stuff. I was like, "What do you know about the Sinborn?"
You can hear a chuckle come from beneath his mask. Thought you said you knew who the bride was.
I knew who the bride was. I'm just asking in general.
Sinborn take many recorded shapes. Some are more aquatic, some are insectoid. They all seem to share separate motivations, though, from what we can tell. Although, those of the same type seem to share all of a certain type seem to share a kind of collective hive mind. They seem to think in unison, or take orders from something. The bride at least tells us that this one type does.
Where does this come from?
Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it? Now, I don't know the particulars. You're going to have to ask the boss lady, but seems like when we take water, it's an excretion from the bride herself. She produces this. She changes the magical makeup of water, and it begets life of a kind. And he nods at the tanks.
Why does the church want her?
We don't know. Mostly been secluded here.
So you know anything why the church are like semi like Scully and like when I got hit with them, I remember there was all this like extra stuff like to their attacks like that normal swords don't really do.
They wield the magic of their gods, don't they? But I can't really speak much to that. They have been rather zealous of late. Frankly, it's a bit disturbing. They've been hunting us right good and proper. Lose a good number, many a comrade trying to keep them off our trail, and he taps his mask. His mask of many faces.
What will become of these creatures you have growing?
Well, some become guards. Some become militia. Some become daughters, mothers, fathers. Some stay here for research. We're still trying to figure out how and why. We're not quite sure about what gives them the intelligence that some of them have.
That's what I was about to ask is, what about the hive mind? They're being controlled. How do you know it's safe?
Because we trust the bride. She doesn't seem nefarious, as far as we can tell. In fact, she seems grateful that we even found her and woke her.
I insight that.
Sure.
Because that goes kind of against what the bride herself told us, right?
I'll assist you, I suppose.
Now, verify for me what you think was opposed. What did she?
She was like, free me from the collective people, right? Like she didn't seem very happy to be observed by them.
She did say to free her, but not from anybody in particular.
She said the old gods were keeping her captive, but she also said that she was also being held captive by
So
the
the old gods cast her away from from a deific position, and then she said she needed to be freed, but didn't say anything in particular about it. To clarify, now for the insights that you guys have gathered, he seems straightforward. Not quite a simple person, but like he is direct. As far as he's concerned, he's telling the truth. Or as far as he knows, he's telling the truth.
I just have a thought.
All right. Well, Ocasio, you look like you have something on your mind.
Not now. Who's in the back of the group? Which one of us?
I'll say Kos is
Good.
in the back of the group, facing. He's like looking, like he's like interposed himself like between the rest of the group and the two guards flanking you.
I guess I'll go to Kos and try to say this stealthily, because my self conversations work well. Since this guy's wearing a mask, though, right?
Which guy?
The guy leading us.
Yes.
I'll just go up to Kos. I assume that he heard this conversation. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, how do we know that he's not one of these creatures growing in the vats?
Kos just kind of like looks over at the gray-skinned guy, and he says, "We don't, unless we take his mask off."
That's my thought too. And if that's the
roll a
case,
stealth check.
Okay, I'll just add this to it though. If that's the case, then everything he says is not to be trusted, because he's being controlled anyway. So his own truth is its own reality. Stealth check. Here we go. Yay.
No, just automatically rolls with disadvantage. I have a less stealthy voice because of my chainmail.
Resonation and all that.
You're moving your jaw, just goes clunk, clunk, clunk.
Clunk, clunk, clunk. I talk in Vulcan.
Echoes in your helmet.
The helmet I'm not wearing.
Yeah.
The helmet in the forest echoes so loudly that you can hear it in these mines.
You hear another light chuckle from the dwarf, and you hear a click as he reaches up to the side of his face, flips the latch, and opens the mask. And you're looking into the face of a Duragar.
Okay.
Charcoal skin, molten eyes, and like a fiery beard. Says, "Sorry, no strings on me."
Well, I'm glad that you could reveal that to us. Now it's going to be easier to trust you.
He shrugs and replaces the mask. I don't know how it all works. It doesn't always seem to work the same. Some of us have simple dreams. Mullig didn't even need a dream if he was given his work. The bride has given him exactly what he wanted, without any extra help. Some just want our companions back and our friends, in some form or another. It's not always the same. Not like Dahlia. Now she's a work of art for sure.
The executioner's daughter.
Aye, the executioner's daughter. You've heard of her.
In passing, yes.
Well, they were dealt a bad hand. They were moved here not too long ago after we had to give up their key.
What made this Dahlia so special?
Meet her if you like. She had a better imprint than some of the others. Some personalities don't take as well. Some take very well. And Dahlia's did for sure. You'd never know she wasn't dead.
I was just about to ask, like, I thought she was dead. Okay.
He's talking about the personality imprinting on one of the gray people?
Mhm.
Okay.
Zoom is just like,
This all sounds very unkosher.
sus, one would say.
Well, I can see why you'd be nervous about it, but we came to terms with the fact that she's a well of knowledge and power we don't understand. She's non-violent, and what more could you want? That's the whole purpose of the collective, is to find new and interesting things. Push the boundaries of our knowledge and magic. Can't really think of a more fitting opportunity, can you?
Certainly on the cutting edge.
I could see why you could be intrigued by this power. However, if you have encountered other Sinborn, which I assume maybe you have, like we have, you would understand why it's concerning to us, considering that they sacrifice their own to summon beasts.
He doesn't really answer you. He says, aye, it could be concerning.
If we were to report the works of the collective to the guild, I mean, we were.
So that's why you're here. Because
I
we haven't
mean-
reported?
We're here because the bride called to us.
Well, if the bride called to you, shan't keep you waiting any longer then. Come on.
Nods.
Bud's going first.
It means I'm going second. I'm right by him.
You seem to be going further down. The walls of the cavern you're in seem to take on a... They still remain smooth, but take on kind of like a wetter sheen to them. As though you're passing under like a body of water or something. Or like there's an underground lake somewhere nearby. The rooms that you pass take on more of like a residential kind of like living quarter area type of thing. You pass a sandy-haired woman in a mask. She's in one of the living quarters, playing with a little girl in a frilly dress. The two are just laughing somewhere on the floor below, like just at the foot of a bed, playing with dolls. But you continue on.
Is that Tyler?
So is that Talia?
Oh, are you asking aloud?
Yes.
The Duergar looks back. He says, "Hey, that's them. Aren't they happy?" Is that an Ireland flag?
It was.
Okay. I thought it was the penguin. I'm like, what am I looking at?
Oh, I could get the penguin. I haven't had the penguin in a while.
The halls take on a glow, a bluish glow, not dissimilar from the tanks from before. You see the faint like flicker of like illuminated water splashing against the walls, and you're met.
Boy.
Oh,
Oh no, I don't know.
I do not
I don't
own
have
that
vision.
token with vision.
Yep.
That
I'm
token.
blind.
Really? Hang on.
Yeah.
I cannot see because it's dark in here.
Oh, there we go.
Ah,
Okay.
it's purple.
There's only one thing a grid means.
No, purple.
No,
Color purple.
Moving.
purple.
Anything but that.
No.
Sleep till Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, there's like.
You can see a well-dressed figure standing before a large pane of glass. The other side is just kind of it's water on the other side of the glass, reflecting some sort of purplish, bluish light that seems to move with the tides and currents. She's facing away from you, facing the glass. She's dressed in finery and like gilded light blue, sky blue robes. Dark brown, almost black hair cascading all the way down down into the middle of her back.
Where's the Duragar?
I didn't have a Duragar. Wasn't sure how this was gonna go. Let's say. Well, let's just have him be this guy.
Alright.
Oh,
This guy.
Oh, let me get back to my notes. He pipes up as he enters. He says, Adamura, guest of the guild for you. She turns around and she's got the high cheeks and delicate features, like sharp features of an elf, looking down imperiously at you. She's got like winged eyebrows that flare up and out, and just like her overall demeanor adds to just like a very regal or serious person in command. The bride has told me to expect you.
And where is the bride?
She comes presently. But I am curious why you came.
Like sea and stuff.
We were called. So we
Indeed.
came.
Well, that's good of you. She looks like she's about to ask you something else, and she stops, and she kind of glances back. Ah, she comes now. And you guys see a shadow kind of approaching the glass. It's a large figure, and it's kind of just moving slowly, like shifting its way gracefully through the water.
Oh my god.
What? Suddenly.
No way.
You
Suddenly.
you can see something like just float its way up to the glass and pull itself up. Four arms
Yeah, that looks like a sunburn.
resting gently on a soft ledge at the base of the glass, pulling herself up, one finger at what appears to be like the beautiful facial structures of a pretty face, but she is clearly corrupted in some way. Some kind of fleshy covering her face and eyes, almost like a mask.
Aye.
She taps her lips curiously, and then one hand presses up against the glass. It's this large, spindly thing with claws on the end of it. Taps against the glass. The gray-skinned man in the sash and skirt kind of does one of these, and his mouth opens, not dissimilar from the guard from before. She says, "Welcome. I'm glad you've come." And that's where we're gonna end it for tonight.
Ooh,
Alrighty.
Wow.
look at that waifu.
Anticipation.
This was a big mistake.
Yeah, it flashed way through.
Why did we come here?
I think in the next 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, that'll be my last session, I think.
We'll be doing a new campaign because we'll all be dead. Oh wait, I mean,
So in 2 more sessions, it'll be your final.
I think there's one more session with me as your DM, and then we'll be passing it along. Somebody else.
Okay.
OMG.
oh, she's like, ah.
It's happening.
Never mind. I'll save it till after we're done with the stream.
All right. Well, thanks for
Alright.
playing. You'll
Thanks, Matt.
have more
Thank you,
opportunity for
Matt.
questions. We'll see what happens.
Oh God.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like you see Brandon fading, so definitely a good opportunity.